And so we are excited to have all of y'all here this morning. Video is the topic, and I can tell you from this group we're going to have a diversity of folks share their journey, where they started, what type of things they're doing, so that you can have some ideas of some exact things that you could be doing. Look, these people just look at all this. Greensboro, North Carolina. Hoping to be up there with y'all. Hopefully in October. I was talking about that yesterday. So excited to see everybody. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. And Sam, if you can just make sure that we can see my screen here. Everybody see my screen?
Good to go.
All right, perfect. All right, so guys, I want to just get us started real quick and get right into this because we got some great stuff. I want you to think about this. When you hear the words and someone says that a picture is worth 1,000 words, you have to understand that a video is frame after frame after frame. So it's worth millions of words. And the idea of utilizing video in your real estate business is something that is not going to diminish. It's actually going to expand. So I just want to encourage you today, wherever you are in your video journey, I want you to think a little bit about how you can expand your horizons in video, how you can utilize this to serve your clients at a higher level. And you have to understand that video acts as a filter. So the people that are watching the video, they're actually getting an opportunity to understand who you are, and it will turn some people away. My accent's going to turn some people away. I talk a little fast. It's going to turn some people away. That's fine. Those are not my people. We're looking for your ideal clients, and it will act as a natural filter. I call this my video viability filter. What I like to do is before I post any type of videos, I want to think that it does three things. Number one, I want it to expand my brand. So you want it to be something that expands your brand. So it needs to be representative of who you are. And then also it needs to increase the trust and build relationships. And so that's something that we're going to talk a little more about as we go through this. And then it ultimately, the goal of video is to lead to new business and also to referrals. So I'm going to give you all a couple examples before we get into our panel. Just a couple of things. I wanted to show you some examples of people that are doing this well. This is Ken Pozak out of Orlando. One of the things that Ken does is he has developed a channel where all he does is reports on the local kind of news. He's almost become the local news station for this. He will find an idea and he will then report it like news. So I'm going to show you an example of this. I want you to be thinking about this. We need to be the resource in our local community. And you can see the engagement is crazy through the roof on this. Now, what you'll see here is he's using a carousel being where he can flip this over, and then he goes to video. So I'll let you do
Florida's
this.
largest climbing gym opens in Orlando. This is actually by the Orlando Sentinel, talking about High Point Climbing.
Now, I want to notice a couple things here. He is actually taking an article from another website, and he's reporting on that. So he's becoming the local news source. We're seeing this as a trend that really produces results where you become the resource, not just for real estate, but for your entire city. And what he does by doing this then is he sprinkles in about every fourth or fifth post, he talks about real estate. This has led to him having his biggest year ever and doing some pretty amazing things. I'm going to show you another example of this. This is a buddy of mine out of Calgary, Canada, Brad McCallum. What I love about this, if you're looking for somebody that does some things that are really kind of creative, Brad does some very creative things. I want to play this, and hopefully you can hear this, and this will kind of give you an idea of something very creative to do. Now, what you notice here is a couple of things. The creativity on this, and you may be saying, but I don't know how to do that. Here's what I did last night. I dropped it into ChatGPT with a link to this, and I said, tell me how to create a video, an Instagram reel like this. It came back with the initial, and it wasn't perfect, but it gave me some ideas. And then I said, can you get more specific on the cover with a video backdrop? And it actually showed me how to do this. Now, if you're not sure how to do this and ChatGPT doesn't give it to you, go to Google. You can figure this stuff out. But I just wanted you to see something that's a little different. Also, Brad utilizes video actually on everything that he does on his YouTube channel, which is really, I mean, you can see here, he's got over 50,000 people that follow him. This is what I like to do when I'm looking at someone's YouTube channel. I like to go to the videos tab, especially if it's someone that I'm trying to model after. And then what I will do is I will go down to this, instead of the latest, which is the most recent videos, I will go to popular. Now, I utilize a specific tool called vidIQ. This little number you see here is 52x. That's telling me that this is an outlier score. This is 52 times the normal views he has. Now, I will tell you, because we've done this with some other people, when you look at this, moving to Calgary in 2025, everything you must know before deciding, If you will do moving to wherever your city's name in 2025, everything you must know, it will absolutely outperform. So you don't have to recreate the wheel with some of these things. Last but not least, I want to share also another friend of mine, Katie Day. She does this, which is called Houston Unlocked. And what she's done is she's just set up a separate channel that is specifically just for reporting news in the local area. What's great about this is she is just taking and doing green screen videos talking about this. An example of this would be if you have any news about an airport, it always kills. So what she did here is a couple of things. She had the backdrop of the picture. She talked about what was coming. On the call to action at the end, she said, share this with someone that you know that loves to travel. So always be thinking on the back end of some of this localized content where you're sharing some of the details on exactly what it is that you want them to do, which is share this with someone else. That'll help get some more results. Now, I want to come in. Noah, if you can unmute yourself, come live with me also. First up, Noah Escobar. I wanted to talk, let Noah share with you some of the things that he's doing and kind of how video has shaped his business. So Noah, if you're available, please
For
jump in.
sure. Very excited to be here. Thank you for the opportunity. Talk about video is my favorite thing to talk about. Before I start or anything like that, I want to say video is the fancy part of my business. It's probably 50% of my business, but the other 50% is the basics, doing the open houses, making the phone calls, circle prospecting. So at the end of the day, if I only did YouTube, I'd be poor, right? That's the only thing. Because then I'm constantly waiting for the right person to call me. But I'll share with you what has been working. And this is kind of the trifecta for me on my YouTube channel. It kind of has that sales funnel approach. And since we've done this originally, it's actually kind of flipped on its head a little bit. So starting with a new sales funnel, the biggest thing for me is the infrastructure update. So a lot of what Katie Day is doing with her social media and Instagram, I do in long form videos. So I really focus on, yeah, there you go. The hook and intro, keep it relatively short. I'm on camera for probably 10 to 15 seconds, maybe in the intro. Just kind of talking about exactly what like in this video, we're going to talk about 3 brand new developments coming to Santa Rosa Beach. And also I'm in the Florida Panhandle between Destin and Panama City Beach. And so in Santa Rosa Beach, we have a ton of brand new development. Freeport is one of the fastest growing cities in the state of Florida. So I have a lot of content to create. And from there, I feature 3 to 4 different new developments with all just a drone. So DJI Mini 3 Pro is what I currently have. My wife has the 4 Pro, so we're very drone heavy in our videos. But the biggest thing with this, it just allows me to get that 30,000 foot view of everything that people normally won't be able to see. It's super easy. Probably takes me an hour to shoot one of these videos. But the biggest thing for me, it creates conversations where most of the other ones are a little harder to get engagement. Like people are gonna say house is pretty, house is cool, but when you're talking about how something directly impacts the real estate investment, that's when things get to the next level. And so now for the first time in the last 2 years or so, we're talking to a lot more track builders, developers, commercial developments that are coming soon that wants us to now promote their product. So it's just a unique conversation starter. And then from there, top of the funnel, easiest thing to create conversations on. If you go to my community videos, those are the next thing. So in the infrastructure videos, my outro is like, if you want to learn how this directly impacts your real estate value, feel free to reach out, everything like that. They'll see if a development is nearby their community and kind of go into that sales funnel. And the community is super simple. My goal is I appeal to a lot of out-of-state buyers and investors, especially on the rental income side. So for us, painting what communities look like before they even get into town has proven to be very successful. So same thing, hook and intro are relatively short, and then talking about the overall amenities and location, talking about what actually is going to make people money at the end of the day. So is that a pool? Is that a gym? Is it a gated community? A value proposition? How does this stand out compared to another community? So oftentimes we can kind of draw comparisons and kind of leads them into another sales funnel, if you will. And then if we have a condo, covering a different floor plan or anything like that to where we can feature in the video, kind of say, hey, we're going to give you the inside look at what one of these units actually looks like, providing value more so than just saying, hey, this community is really cool, come check it out. I don't think there's value in that. And then that leads right into our listing video. And so our listing videos, not only do we do it on our personal listings, but when I first started, I found anybody that had a vacant listing and asked permission to shoot it. Hook and intro, I do a little bit more of a hook style in this kind of video because it's kind of harder to keep people's attention. House overview, also call my MLS overview, and kind of talking about big picture items. Hey, it's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath. And that's where a lot of real estate agents will just stop right there. And then, kind of do a wave, hey, check it out on your own, whatever. But my goal is I need to stand out. I'm 25, so I need to stand out across a sea of agents that have been doing 25 years of experience selling real estate. And so in my case, I like to offer my opinion on the value proposition. Again, in a lot of cases, is how is this going to make you money? How's this going to save you on taxes? But also, if it's a primary residence, what can being in this community, whether it's a school district or if it's close to a gym, if it's close to a commercial district, how will this directly impact your everyday life? And I think that's where we start to build credibility to the point where when we're talking about the amenities and location, it's just frosting. It's just everybody's already sold by the value proposition. And the listing tours, in my case, tend to have the most retention, which is pretty nice too. So there's things that we're dropping in every 10 to 15 seconds when I'm scripting to kind of get people re-engaged as we go through. And that's kind of the trifecta of exactly what's been working for me. I'll also do a ton of builder interviews, which has been amazing because I love builder referrals. It's the easiest thing, in my opinion. We had people that bought a lot from me from watching going down the sales funnel. They ended up buying a lot for $1 million, connected them to a builder who's building a $3 million house for them, and then obviously getting a referral out of that. So it's just another payday when the time comes. And it's just creating conversations.
Hey, Noah, let's talk about where you got started, okay? Because, there'll be some people on here that are like, man, it's amazing. And let me just say this, go to YouTube, follow Noah. And the reason, and if you just go to YouTube and you look up Noah Escobar, you're going to find it. Watch what he's doing. He is the test. We talked about these things about you don't have to recreate the wheel. Figure out someone that's doing something that you want. And even before we get to that, Noah, just because I want to let people realize this. How long have you been doing video? What does it look like as far as results? What has it meant financially? And then also, if you could talk about the passive prospecting that it does for you now.
For sure. Starting with the passive prospecting, obviously the goal is to build any systems to where we can work less. That's ultimately my goal. So I started selling real estate in January of 2022. I would say about 4 months in is when I really dove into videos. It took me 7 months to get my first YouTube lead. We closed them. Our speed from when they called us and came to town to they were under contract was 3 days. And that's the whole reason I do it. I don't want to nurture anybody. I don't even have a CRM just because I just don't want to focus on that, right? And everybody's gonna build their business the way they want to build their business. But that for me is the speed to lead and getting people actively involved. I'm already doing the prospecting. I'm already doing the CRM built into the YouTube channel. Granted, there are backend systems that I will further grow as I mature as an agent. But there are a lot of things like the time right now, as we're, in mid-July in our season, summer break is huge down here at the beach. So now we're getting about 15 hours of watch time a day. So, if I work a full day, I don't even know what a full day is anymore, 9, 10 hours, and then I was prospecting 15 hours on the back end, and I'm having 25-hour days. And you see all these influencers on Instagram where it's like, maximize your days, but I can't find anything else that works better than in YouTube. And we're seeing a lot more of people going from YouTube to my Instagram. So that's kind of where I can improve on the most. But I got into video because I was doing it for my church before. I got an internship with Berkshire Hathaway when I was 19. And a lot of these ideas I just stole from other people that were doing it and not releasing it. So like my broker at the time, he was doing infrastructure updates to educate agents. And I said, you have to make this public. And he's like, I don't really want to. And I said, I will. And now it becomes the number one conversation starter for me. Or listing tours. I see everybody doing listing tours. And I'm always like, if I was moving to this area, how would I improve to get more information to that person? And just building on those consistent ideas. Like everything you see here is just ideas that we eventually steal and make better. That's the whole point of the real estate community.
Yeah. Hey, Noah, if you don't mind, a little bit more about kind of like, well, I don't want to let this slide by. You got to
Yeah.
understand when Noah's talking about this, that means that today, literally while he was on vacation a week or two ago with his wife, there were 15-hour days being done for him because people were watching his videos on average 15 hours a day. And that is acting as that natural filter. When he's talking about that's his CRM, it's doing all of the nurturing for him. Is it still around 17 days on average from your people that come from YouTube that go into contract? Noah,
Yeah, I would
roughly?
say, I mean, it's kind of gone down just as days on market kind of increased and everybody's super picky. Like I've been working with this guy now for 3 or 4 months, so it's obviously gone a little bit longer. But when things were a little bit more stabilized, if you will, around 6 months of inventory, it was 17 days from when people would call me, come to town until they were under contract.
Yeah. Hey, and when Noah is talking about kind of watching what some other people are doing, I mentioned Brad McCallum earlier. If you'll notice, like on these, you'll notice the inside a $3 million luxury design. Inside of, remember, these are the most popular videos he had. So you can see the pattern of titling with a inside a $3 million luxury home, inside a 2.7, inside a spectacular, whatever it is. Well, if we go over here and we look at like one of these for Noah, you'll notice what he's done. He's got a keyword of the location, but then he's got inside a luxury home. I mean, he literally is utilizing the advantage of knowing what is working for someone else. So again, you don't have to recreate the wheel when it comes to this. And Noah, let's talk about when you first started. Obviously, you made an investment in this. What did it look like when you first started as far as the amount of videos, how often you did them, and what does it look like now, if you don't mind?
Yeah, when I first started, I didn't want to overwhelm myself, so it was really, 3 to 4 videos a month, and now we're trending to about 6 to 8 a month, just because they've gotten easier to script, and the overall system has just gotten greasier. I can get things done quicker from editing to distribution, everything like that. But when I first started, I want to say I was probably $25,000 into my investment on the video side before I got my first lead in those 7 months. And then when I got that first lead, it was 40,000 in GCI, paid for my investment up front, and then gave me $15,000 more to work with. And I just kind of kept reinvesting. I probably spent about 50,000 a year on video production, probably to the point where I should get somebody on salary at this point. But that initial I put 50,000 in, and it churns out 400K. I'll do it all day.
Yeah.
And that has been, luckily, this kind of lead pipeline has kind of created that income. But at the same time, it's once you get the people, how do you take them from a conversation to closing them? And I still that's a whole other 50% of the business. But selling 25 to 30 million, I saw about 30 million this year. We just put one under contract for 4 million, just from a famous athlete watching a video, contacting me, and sometimes it's luck of the draw. There's weeks where I call Jimmy and I'm like, hey man, this stuff doesn't work. And there's other weeks where I'm like, hey, this works too well. I need to hire somebody. And next week it doesn't work at all. It's just one of those things where, it can't be your only sole focus like it is for me most times. And I get stuck in that rut. But the biggest thing I'm trying to improve on now is how do we create content that can be distributed in different ways? How can I create content like these community overviews that could turn into Instagram Reels or pop on Facebook? And that's kind of been the shift over time. But one of my most recent videos was just a walkthrough on my phone, and it had the best engagement I've seen in a while. So I have the fancy equipment. I hire people with fancy equipment, but it's really not needed. I think just giving the right information and providing opinions is going to set you apart.
Hey, it's a great transition there. Look, again, follow Noah on YouTube. Go follow him on Instagram, really, if you're looking for what he's doing video-wise over there, because you'll notice the transition of what he's doing with some of the things that he's doing over there that is really starting to generate some results as well. So, Noah, thank you. Appreciate that. And look, that's a perfect example of consistency pays off, okay? When you're seeing what Noah does is he has been consistently doing this now for 2 years. And when you think about this and you say, well, gosh, he spent 20 something thousand dollars or whatever it was he said, 30, whatever, $25,000. I want you to think about this. If you take on 1,000 home subdivision for geographical farming, and you do this correctly, because in my mind, you have the mailers plus the events, and you're going to spend $2 per month on average to do it correctly, to go out and to geographically farm a neighborhood, you're going to spend $24,000 in that year. Well, let me just say this. The second that you stop sending those mailers to that group is the second the business will start to slow down and eventually stop. With YouTube, he's got videos he recorded last year that he paid for last year that are going to have views today that continue to compound the opportunity. So that's the value of video to me, is it continues to grow over time. So Noah, thank you. Appreciate everything. Appreciate your willingness to share. And again, just go follow Noah. Coming up next, Natalie Sanchez out of Shreveport. Natalie, if you can come on. Natalie, if you can come on. And look, this is another one of those where, like Noah said, when he first started, he started with the basics. And so, Natalie, I'd love for you to kind of share your video journey, if you don't mind, and kind of how you got started.
Yes, sir. And I told you, if I have to do this, I have to share our journey together. Because let me tell you right quick, I was very afraid of videos. And let me tell you the story between how Jimmy and I met. So I was at one of PHH's sales convention in Las Vegas. And I signed up to take one of Jimmy's classes about videos and social media and, brand new ChatGPT back then, 2 years ago, 3 years ago. And I remember, I'm sure if you've been at one of Jimmy's classes, he blows your mind with so much information. So at the end of the class, I wanted to greet him and just kind of ask him a couple questions. There was a line waiting for him, 20 people ahead of me, but I said, I have to meet Jimmy and I have to talk to him. I came to Jimmy and I said, Jimmy, I know you said social media videos will be the next thing, and I know you're inviting us to go ahead and take the step, but I'm very afraid because this is what I told Jimmy. And I know it sounds crazy, but I said, my English is not perfect and I don't want to disrespect the language. I want to do it right. So he looked at me like crazy and he's like, okay, what do you speak? And I said, well, I'm Mexican, I speak Spanish. He said, fine, go ahead and start doing videos in Spanish. And once you feel comfortable, make the transition to English. That's how everything got started. I went back home and a couple of weeks later, this video, a little bit that Jimmy's going to show you, it's in Spanish. And it was my second social media, Facebook ever video that I recorded of myself. And it wasn't even about real estate. It was an event that was going on. It was a summer camp for knowing the brain for kids. So I thought it was very interesting because I have 3 kids. And I was like, I'm sure some other parents would love to know this. 2 months later, a buyer called me and said, I would love to look at a house. He said that his current agent was not responding and was kind of ghosting him. And they've been looking for a house for almost 6 months and it wasn't working. So of course I made the protocol questions. Did you sign anything? Back then it wasn't anything about the NOR settlement, buyer's agreement. But he said, no, we haven't signed anything. We don't have a contract and we want to look at a house today. So I made that happen. And let me tell you why it's so important. Our average sales price back then, it was about $200,000. So for those who live in California, Florida, somewhere else may not understand this the way I felt, but he texted me the address, and when I look it up, it was an over $1 million property. So you must imagine how excited I was. Anyways, we got the deal done. After 2 months, he purchased a 1.2 property with me. And then I sold his property for $700,000, previous property. And he has done more than 30 investment properties. And it was, so after, at the beginning, it was more like a business kind of type relationship, but he became a really good friend of mine. And one of our meetings, I said, Mr. Buyer, I need to ask you, how did you find out about me? He said, Natalie, remember a video that you posted on Facebook? It was about knowing the brain, summer camp for the kids. He said, I was watching the video, and it was a long video. It's like 2-minute video. I think it is 2 minutes, almost 2 minutes. He said, at the end of the video, you said something. You said, hey, my name is Natalie, and I'm a real estate agent for the city and surrounding areas. And if you're looking to buy, sell, invest, give me a call. He said, I watched the video, and that's why I called you. And I couldn't believe it because it wasn't, if you watched the beginning, I was so nervous. But Jimmy had told me like a couple of weeks ago that I needed to start somehow. And this is how I started. If you go to my Facebook, this will be my second video that I uploaded. And he has given me a very good, profitable, client after that.
Yeah, and what I love about this is that, listen, you're all going to hear ideas today, but Natalie went and took action, and it has resulted in literally one video, just changed her business in a way for the positive that affects her family. And so I just want to encourage you. We've all got excuses. I'm going to tell you this. If somebody tells you that they are completely comfortable on video, they will lie to you about other stuff. I'm just telling you, we all have it. Look, I'm sitting here going, man, my head is shining today. I mean, look, we've all got stuff. But the key is you have to understand is if you show up authentically who you are, which is exactly what she did, you will absolutely find your ideal clients. We talked about it with Noah. Noah was sharing who he is, the things that he does, and his audience is finding him. The algorithm has never been better than it is today. And so, Natalie, thank you. This is super inspiring. I want to show you kind of also, and look, every single one of you can take your phone. She's got this propped up in her car shooting this video, and you can do this today. Don't get bogged down with needing the perfect video. Done is better than perfect. And when you come in, you just heard Noah talking about it too. He spends all this money, but the most engaging video he's had recently was literally a video walkthrough with his phone through a house, through a listing. So I just want to encourage you to take action. Now, I want to talk a little bit about, because there are some people that are just starting, and then there's some people that are now they're having some success with this. And you've kind of taken a little next step, obviously, like which is natural, and started hiring someone. You want to talk about what that process looks like right now?
Yes, absolutely. Well, I wanted to offer a better service and better things for my clients. So we starting at, just doing professional videos now so that it can feature the properties a little better. And I'm going to tell you, you are 100% right, Jimmy. I'm still shaking. I'm still nervous, but I know people want to see you. People want to know who they're going to work with. And so you must be present. And so I started just kind of realizing, like, I am who I am. I should embrace the way I am, the way I speak. I try my best to be the most professional. I do have high respect for the language, so I try to study and do better every day. But we have to be present. So if anybody's watching and just you're afraid of starting to do videos, start small. Start like I did. If you go to my Facebook, Instagram, you'll see that most of my videos were like, I will introduce myself a little bit and then switch the camera right quick and try to record anything else. Another thing that I did, Jimmy, and I would love to share this, is like I'd really like to highlight my community, small businesses, people that are starting a business and need help just putting their name out there. I like to do that. I don't want it to be just all about me. It's a way for me to also be grateful of their support. And I would love to share this story with you if you allow me. There is one time also, I recorded a video being in my car. I had shown a property around 8 p.m. at night, and I got stopped by the train, and the train was taking forever. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to do a Facebook Live right quick, just sharing my story, why I'm here. So I started telling everyone, hey, just want to let you know, I just finished showing a property for a restaurant owner who doesn't have time during the day because he has to be at the restaurant at his business. And if you are one of those, please give me a call. I'd love to work with you. I work 24/7. I have flexible hours. Next day, Jimmy, I got 2 Facebook Messenger messages about people that wanted to look at houses because of the same reason. So there is a niche for every need, but more than likely there is a niche for those who don't have flexible hours. And I think I found that very useful, and I try to fit their needs. I closed 2 more deals after that simple video. It wasn't anything fancy. It was actually dark. My face, you couldn't even see it, but I was telling my story. So a story gets to people, and they want to work with somebody that it's flexible on their time and fits their needs.
So this is a perfect example. You've just spent about 10 minutes with Nathalie, and we all know who she is. I mean, just from this, you can hear her heart, you can hear her passion, you can hear how she serves. And so I just want to say thanks for being transparent and just being who you are and everything you're doing. If y'all have a referral in Shreveport, I would absolutely do that. Also, I think we'll probably have it in the chat as well. But go follow Nathalie on Instagram, on Facebook, all the different places, because you'll watch how she shows up and how she is authentically who she is. And that's why our business is thriving. So thank you, my friend, for being on here and sharing. I truly, truly do appreciate it.
Thank you, Jamie.
All right, thanks. All right, next up, Christian, we're going to come to you, and I would love to have Christian Walsh come forward. Christian, if you're here, I'd love for you to jump in. And
Jimmy, how am I supposed to follow Nathalie's story? That's unbelievable. Unbelievable. I love that she dove in. And like you said, Jimmy, we're all self-conscious. We're all overly critical. I'm staring at my hairline the whole time. I need to end up joining the Jimmy Bald Club at some point. So you're right.
Ball brigade, brother. It's the ball brigade. It's what we do.
Polish that thing up.
Hey, tell us a little bit, because what I love about this is if you're looking for someone who, we think about this, oh, well, this needs to be on social media, and it needs to be polished, and it needs to be about this. What I love that you've done, Christian, is you stayed consistent and true to a couple of things. Your ideal client. You're going to talk about the different things that are happening in California, in Southern California specific, for investors, for multifamily. You want to talk about how you got started and kind of what it looks like right now, if you don't mind.
Yeah, and again, thank you for doing this. I'm learning so much. I've got pages and notes here from the panelists, and I'm excited to hear from Wyatt. I know coming on later as well. But so got started in video, dove all in during COVID. So I've been doing it for 5 years at this point in time, and it really what motivated me was like Noah was talking about, like being able to work when you're not working. So I got started during COVID when we couldn't work. We couldn't do anything. For a few weeks, we were non-essential, and then we had to adapt to how we did things. So I figured, you know what? I'm pretty good at open houses in connecting with people and generating leads from open houses. I'm terrible. In fact, I'm a terrible generator in general, and I could fix that. But so when I'm one-on-one with someone, I do a pretty good job. So I figured, you know what? I'm just going to create video. And if people want to watch it, it's like a one-on-one conversation. So been doing that for 5 years now. Had some success on some videos from view counts, success on videos from leads. I am primarily directing my content to sellers. And so you're not going to see here any of the property tour videos. I haven't done any of those. I did one and it failed, so I decided that wasn't my jam. You don't have any why you should move to my area videos, don't have any of those. So in some respects, I'm doing it wrong, but I'm doing it how I want to do it. And that's what's great about video. You do you. And don't go to my Instagram because my Instagram sucks. I am focused on YouTube. That's all I care about. And now TikTok a little bit because some of my videos have done well on TikTok, even though they're not filmed for TikTok. They're the wrong format, but they still do well. And like you were talking about reporting news for the area, when you mentioned that a light bulb just went off for me. And reporting news for the area gets good engagement. But what do you mean by news? So news can be different things. News can be that new airport, like you said, that gets great engagement on Instagram. But news is market updates. So I do market updates. News is what's going on with new homes in the area. Noah's doing that. Wyatt's doing that. So that's news. The other thing that's news for me, landlord-tenant law. So that's what I talk about. What is news for good landlords and good renters? What do they need to know? And that's where my seller leads come from. So quick overview.
Yeah, no, this is great. And let's talk. I want to show a couple of things here also, Christian, because again, I mentioned this, like when I come to a channel, I want to look at a couple of things. I mentioned that, this is the latest tab, if you guys can see that over here, and then also the popular tab. I mentioned the popular tab a little bit earlier. But when I'm looking at latest here, typically what I can look at is you can see like 900 views 8 days ago, 831 13 days ago, 1,200 views 3 weeks ago, and then boom, 17,000 views, an 11x on that vidIQ outlier. And what I want you guys to think about this is notice the titling on this. This never happens in the Southern California housing market. Christian, you want to speak to how this would work for anybody, anywhere, and kind of what the thought process was with your titling and on the content there?
Yeah, this is getting into next level stuff. And Jimmy, you do a great job of this as well. I've studied your channel, and that's what I encourage you to do. Go to others and look at their channels and look at those that are in your area, agents that are doing well in your area, and then agents that are doing well outside your area, and then topics outside of what we do, because there are general title formats, for example, that do well. So what I did on this video, and trust me, I don't always have videos do well between the title and thumbnail. And there's A/B testing as well that I encourage you to do. So this one, I was proud of myself, gave myself a little pat on the back because I created dissonance. And this title, this never happens in Southern California real estate or the housing market. It's actually better to use housing market, I've found, than real estate. But this never happens. You can do that in any market. And I ripped it off, I think, from somebody else that had said this never happens. And it probably wasn't even about real estate. It was just a general, this never happens. And then the dissonance I created was by putting in the title, it's happening. So there's dissonance. You're like, well, why is he saying it's happening, but this never happens? So that helped this video do better. At least this is my theory on it. And then this thumbnail, and you can see some of my thumbnails, you can see they're a little more cartoonish, or if you will, the foreclosure report one is I'm using a tool called Replicate to create thumbnails. So I'm having a lot of fun with that. So I go into ChatGPT and I tell ChatGPT, I need a prompt to create a thumbnail. I want it to be a sunny day. I want this in it, and then it'll create a prompt. I take it over to Replicate, and Replicate, it's not really technical. You just basically, if you watch one video, you understand how to use it. But it's an engine to use different video and picture generators. Again, this is going to sound like over the top, but there's a good video that teaches you how to create your face in videos in Replicate, which I've done. None of these have it, but the Replicate thumbnail tool is spectacular. So I was able to create this thumbnail of these 4 young people on a Southern California beach while the sun is setting, and that as well as an eye catcher. But what's interesting is I've been A/B testing some of these, and sometimes my cheesy looking, like sort of SoCal foreclosure report ones actually do better than the ones that I've created with Replicate. So A/B testing is fun.
Hey, a couple things I want people to notice here also is think about it this way. If people are scrolling, you know, click-through rate is what we always look at on YouTube a lot, CTR. So because it's going to be, the algorithm is going to put it in front of people. What is our click-through rate on these things? A couple of things that you have to understand is when they're scrolling, the picture, the thumbnail, is what stops them. So you want it to have something that, like Chris was saying, it triggers something that creates a curiosity. And then what you have to understand, then they go to the title, typically. You'll notice a couple things that Chris has done here on these. This, and then he's got never in bold, okay? You'll notice down here, the hidden in bold. He's taking these powerful words that stop and trigger our brain to stop and think about things, or, wow, that's different. That's what he's utilizing. And so from that standpoint, when you're thinking about this, Christian, when you're thinking about titles, what is the biggest thing is there something in particular? I will tell you, for me, I typically have the title before I shoot the video. And because then I shoot to the title, because the title is going to be what gets the people to watch. And then I shoot the content based on that.
You're supposed to do that. Jimmy's doing it the right way. I never do things the right way, apparently. I got to be a contrarian on everything. Yeah. Just ask my wife. Drives her crazy. Yeah. But no. So what I do, another important point, and then I'll dovetail into that. You see SoCal foreclosure report, you see report, you see market up. So these are videos I'm doing regularly, and they have the same format. So I encourage you to do that, is pick your format for how you're going to do a market update. Because at the end of the day, if you're not, any videos you're doing as a real estate agent, there should be some sort of market update video in there. And so pick your format. I have a format. It's the same. Get the data the same way. Shoot it the same way. So for me, I don't come up with the title for those ones until after I've finished the video. And after the video is done, I will download the entire transcript of the video. And then I go to ChatGPT and ask for 10 or 20 titles. And they all usually are okay. But then I start to compare and say, okay, well, that word would catch attention, like power words, Jimmy, is what they're called. So like you said, hidden, never. There's other goofy ones, and they continue to change.
Yeah, you can see there.
They're always, it's kind of clickbaity, but you want to capture that attention. And you'll see it too when you go to news sources and the headlines for news. You can copy the headlines for news. They use a lot of those same keywords that capture attention.
Yeah, and think of the listicles too. You know, they call it listicles, you know, numbers, because our mind psychologically works in numbers, because that's the reason why every church in America has a pastor that says, I have 3 points in a story today. I mean, it's because the mind can then focus for that time period, understanding the flow. So if you do that, that's why you see a lot of my stuff will be 7 whatever, 5 whatever. It's because it is easy for people to follow and to stay through to the end, which is huge on this. Christian, this stuff is really good. And let me just say this. Again, figure out what it is for you. What I love about the way Christian does his business is he's figured out who's my ideal client, And I'm not going to try to follow every trend. I'm going to stay consistent to who I am and the content that my ideal client wants. And the numbers speak for themselves, y'all. 35,000 subscribers on YouTube is no easy feat. I'm just telling you from experience. And it comes through the consistency of what Christian's doing. Anything else you want to add as we then transition to Bridget?
Just real fast, and Noah touched on it, Nathalie touched on it, and that is, you want to work with people who like you and trust you and know you, and that's what video does. And you will get to the point where you don't want to work with people who don't watch your videos. And I know it sounds arrogant on some level, but it's not.
Right.
Like the relationship you build, and you'll engage with some of these people in comments, or maybe you won't. Maybe they'll never comment, but they'll watch your stuff. You will not want to work with people who don't watch your stuff, because you're starting from ground zero trying to build trust. It's so much easier to work with these people after they've seen your content and come to you.
Absolutely. Really, really good stuff. Thank you, Christian, for always giving. Go follow Christian. Again, make sure you're following everybody, because it's going to give you that capability. Bridget, if you can come forward now. I wanted to look, again, we're talking about people at different portions as far as their journey on utilizing video. Bridget, I want you, because obviously you're a pro at some of these things. Some of the stuff you're doing is creating community and creating an understanding of exactly who you are for your clients. You want to talk a little bit about how you got started, and then I want to go to a specific couple videos.
Sure. Yeah. So thanks for having me. I started off with talking head videos. So there was a videographer in town that I had learned about through my network, and he was looking to break into real estate. You know, he'd been doing other things, and he had just moved here from out of state. He was looking to get into real estate. So he was giving away basically 5 free talking head videos to a local real estate agent in town. So his name's Abron Ramos. He's my videographer to this day. That was 2 years ago. And we just shot direct to camera, focused primarily on educational content, you know, the things that come up often in transactions that I wish I could scream to the world before they start buying or selling real estate. So I was super passionate about the education piece of it, and signed on with him to just, 15 to 16 talking head videos a month. That turned into adding 4 long form YouTube videos to that. And then from there, it kind of went left. So after you are done looking at yourself, talking directly at the camera with the captions floating and the graphics, I was like completely burnt out. I took maybe a month and a half off, maybe 2. And he's a great accountability partner. You know, he's kind of trying to pull me out of the weeds, and I'm like, I'm done. I don't want to look at myself. I don't want to listen to myself. I have nothing else to say. But that's where my creativity started to show up, right? In my listing videos, I started to allow the listings to tell me, okay, what is the story here? And from there, we've been having a lot of fun, just taking some different angles. I do need to get back to some talking heads, but that was my start. And just seeing the trajectory from there has been really inspiring for me to keep going. But what I recently did was this pinned intro video. I don't know if you want me to talk about that.
Yeah, let me mention about the couple things that I see that you're doing really well, and then I want to get into this. Number one is when you come to Bridget's page, one of the things you see immediately is I love the way that she has it set up, where there's no doubt who she is and what she does. Tucson real estate, you know what I mean? Moving real estate professionally, she's got the emojis, she's got the, bullet points, she's got some connection points. And then one of the things I would suggest is that she's done up top here is that she has a about her video. Everybody should have an about you video that is pinned to the top, at the top of your grid, because you have to understand, when people find you, they're going to come to your grid and they're wondering who you are. And if you make it easy for them to understand who you are by having this pinned up top, then you're going to have the ability for them to probably follow you a lot easier. So let me play this, and then I want you to share the story of kind of what the thought was, okay?
Okay.
It's not right, but it's okay. I'm gonna make it anyway. Pack your bags up and leave. Now don't you dare come running back to me. It's not.
All right, let me stop here and just say, immediately you can understand who Bridget is. You can understand, you know, she's bullet pointing these ideas. Bridget, I want you to talk a little bit about, because people see this and it looks so public, you know, polished.
Yeah.
What did you do to shoot this, and how long did it take, and what did it look like?
Yeah, that's what I love about these videos is the story behind it. So there's a group of these videos that are around in my company. And so what happened was I led one of our company masterminds back in April, and the subject was video. Rather than just talk about video, which I know is what we're doing right now, I decided to make it a hands-on event. You know, I didn't want to do a PowerPoint. I said, you know what, I'm just going to bring my videographer and everyone's going to do an intro video. So in preparation, I had everyone bring bullet points about themselves, personally and professionally, maybe their market area, their passions, just little tidbits about themselves, and a baby photo or a photo from their past, high school graduation, whatever they wanted to do. It made people uncomfortable, you know, it did, but video is uncomfortable. So that was part of it. And then we had an hour and a half. I think there were 9 or 10 of us total, and each of us had about 10 minutes of film time. And we basically just walked. I told them, just walk toward me. My videographer is right next to me, and I'm off camera, making them laugh, gassing them up, telling them how good they look, and just really capturing their personality. If they trip, they trip. You know, you could see, you know, I had my phone thrown to me from off camera and I dropped it, but we left it in there. So I wanted it to be really authentic and show them that it's really easy. You know, you don't have to be silently walking just because you're not hearing it. There's audio that gets, you know, replaced. So they just walked toward the camera. We did it in a few different places. And then my videographer sent it to his VA, virtual assistant, who put the captions on top, and then everyone got to choose their song, you know? And so it was very simple, high impact, and everyone walked away with a piece of content. And it took us, you know, 10 minutes each person.
Yeah, no, this is really good. And like I say, this is something where everybody, this is your resume. And you'll notice even in the description here, Bridget tells who she is, authentically who she is. I think the reason why she's done so well on video, and the majority of the time is the person who comes on video is thinking, okay, now I need to be this person that is different than they are. They fail every single time. You know, the person who is just comes in and talks and is just authentically who they are, good, bad, everywhere in between, that's when you see that the connection happens, and that's the power of video there. So I want to show a couple quick, I want to show in another also. So I wanted to show this video, and we didn't even talk about this, Bridget, but I want to show this from a standpoint of just thinking about things you can do. There is a type of model that is out there that is called man or woman in the street videos. And look, you can watch some of this with late night television, and you will see the same things they do for skits. There's a reason why they keep doing those skits. It's because it hits really well with an audience. So what Bridget did here is she took that format, she showed up on the streets of Tucson and just began asking people, what is it that they felt like was the average sales price? Now, when people are watching this, super engaging. But there's no doubt when they're watching this, who she is. She even has in here a clip of someone asking her, you know, are you a student or something? And she's like, no, I'm a real estate agent. You know, she plays it in there. I'm gonna play just a series of this, and then I want you to talk about the thought process behind this.
Here on Congress, asking the people of Tucson what they believe the average sales price of a home here is today.
I'm gonna guess 400,000.
I'll say about 250,000.
$500,000. Can I ask you a real estate question?
No, thanks.
Okay, have a good day.
Oh, that one hurt. but listen, this is just showing this, and it's showing Bridget out there being in the community. It's a great way to engage, and this thing killed. I mean, you know, you want to talk a little bit about the thought process on some of these types of videos?
Again, a lot of this comes from me just not wanting to be on camera and talk. So I had met with my videographer in one of the restaurants you can see in the background. We were in this courtyard. I had shot one, you know, we tried to do this video. I didn't like the way I looked. I didn't like the way I sounded. I didn't like what I had to say. I was like, you know what? Can we just like go talk to people instead and like ask them questions on the street? And it literally just happened like that. So we went out on the street and I just asked them the average price point, what they thought. I got shut down a lot. So I liked that he left that one in there. So it was a good practice, just, you know, personally, but then it turned out really well on video. We did another one in Phoenix recently that's on my page, where Phoenix and Tucson's a big rivalry town. So we're up in Phoenix for an event. I think it was actually the Mastermind. It was that day. And we said, let's just go downtown and get more street talk. So we walked around downtown Phoenix and asked them, if you could describe Tucson in one word, what would it be? And we got some pretty good responses from that too. So we just have fun with it.
Yeah. Yeah. Look, this is also another, I kind of talked about when you go to the video pages, you have to understand if you just scroll over the top of these, you can begin to see what is something that hits. Like this video here, 309 responses is her talking about, celebrating 15 years at her brokerage. And what it does is it is a subtle idea that people are realizing, oh, she's consistent. Oh, she's been an agent for 15 years. There's a lot of subtle messaging in here that it really kind of gives an idea of there. So Bridget, tell me a little bit about kind of anything you want to add or close out with, because, hey, go follow Bridget. Obviously, go follow her. You're going to find this, her page. Let's see, what is it under? Is it under Tucson Agent? Is that what it is?
Tucson Agent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
So
Anything
yeah, you're definitely going to
add?
get a lot of variety from my page. I don't have, a template or a pattern. It really is just creativity straight from the heart. I try to stay consistent as much as I can. That headshot video, the 15-year brokerage, kind of came from me wanting to debunk the myth that I've only been here for like 5 years. Sometimes people think that I'm new to this. So I didn't want to, it's a humble brag, right? But I was looking back at all of my headshots and how I've evolved over the years, and every agent who's been in the business long enough can relate to your first headshot. So I thought I would, cater to the agent as well as the public, and just looking back on the years. But yeah, I mean, I've enjoyed it. I would just say parting words, don't be afraid. I love that Natalie just got herself out there, that you encouraged her, that Rethink was able to bolster that and give her the confidence she has today, even though it's still scary. I get nervous too. I sweat. I'm sweating right now. But just get out there, just do it. And if you hate it, then film more, because then that thing that you hate will just get buried in the feed, and you can always archive it later if it's really not true to you. But I say leave it all up.
Yeah, I love it. All right. Thanks, Bridget. Go follow Bridget, Tucson Agent. Really good stuff. Wyatt, I want to come to you and listen. We're going to be cognizant of everybody's time. We know we're coming up towards the end of the hour. We will hang around for some questions, but here's what I love. Wyatt Hulick out of Orange County. This is a perfect example. Don't get caught up in the numbers as far as the vanity numbers of subscribers, view count. It's more important about the things. And so, similar to what Noah was talking about on focusing on new construction, Wyatt, you were able to figure out some ways to really generate some opportunities and just get started in this. You want to kind of give a little bit of your background and how you got started in video?
Yeah. Thanks for having me on. It's nice to be the rookie of the group and get to show you the beginning of the journey. But the first 3 years of my career, I was working on a pretty big, successful team here in Orange County. And main form of marketing was sending mailers, and then the majority of my business came from open houses. We were buying a lot of Zillow leads at the time, and I decided it was time for me to leave the nest and start on my own. And obviously a lot of that left, and I started trying to replicate the mailers, but it gets expensive quick. And it was, when you're sending 10 or 15,000, it's $5,000 a month, and you send them out, and half the time you're like, did they really deliver them? Like, where are the calls? My phone should be ringing, and you couldn't track it. And so I needed to find a way to kind of continue to grow business. And it just happened at the time Christian joined Berkshire and was 2 doors down from me in the office. And I asked him, I was like, hey, I see you're successful on videos. Like, I'm interested in it. Give me some tips. And I got my basic equipment, and every morning he would see me in the office like, you post that video yet? You do it. And I was definitely somebody who is not a perfectionist, but was nervous of just not putting something out that's polished. Like, you see people like Noah and these other agents that have been doing video for a while, and it's like gorgeous. And I was like, don't have any editing history, got my camera, got some cheap lighting, and that's about it. But just started putting it out there, and it was mainly just market updates to begin. And I would just send them directly linked on my monthly newsletter, so people had them at the top. But it was nice. I could at least track them through my CRM and through MailChimp is what I used to send them, to be like, oh, all right, this guy watched my video 6 times. Like, maybe I'll give him a call this week and see what's going on. And then kind of wanted to find ways to grow the channel. And at the beginning of my career, I was selling a good amount of new construction, and kind of realized that there wasn't really anybody in my direct market highlighting it and really giving the truth on it. And for a lot of these communities, they're very competitive to try and buy within the first phase. And so I started actually finding ways to get some of the floor plans before they were announced to the public. And that was where I saw the first success from one of my videos was, hey, here's these floor plans of this community that everybody's been hearing about for the past 2 years. Like, if you want to see the floor plans and hear more about the details of what is coming, like, send me an email and I'll send them over to you via Google Drive.
Yeah, Wyatt, I'm gonna just show this a little bit too, just to get everybody kind of a feel. You know, Wyatt, this was one of the
summit.
This was one of those videos that Wyatt started with.
Have finally been approved. And there have been some pretty big changes made since the community was originally announced. As a quick history recap, the summit was originally planned to be built.
So I just wanted to kind of everybody to see, pretty basic, easy format to get started with. And this is the thing is don't wait for it to be perfect. I mean, look, this is very good information. It's the value of the information doing this consistently. Wyatt, tell us what this one video in this one subdivision has generated so far for you.
So from this one video right now, I have 16 million in escrow from it. I have about another 12 million of listings that will come starting in the fall to next spring. And being conservative or just putting a middle mark with people that I have signed up to buy in the community, or if they buy elsewhere, it's about another potential 50 or 60 million in deals.
See, I'm not going to just go skate over that. I mean, y'all.
Yeah, they're big numbers. Like,
I mean, he acted like it was nothing.
Communities.
You know, like it was just this just happens. Let me say this. Think about it this way, and this is what we saw with Noah. This is what we're seeing with Wyatt is. When you are first to market to speak on these, you go to the top of search. So what Wyatt did very wisely is he actually found information, in this case, a little bit before everybody else was releasing it, released that information so he was top. Noah did that with Water Sound Origins. He was first to marketplace, and he continued to add more videos to that, which keeps him top of search. The value you have to understand with YouTube is that people are scrolling on social media. But if they're on YouTube and they do a search for Orchard Hills, the summit, they are specifically looking for information because they're considering purchasing or they're interested in this market. So this is a great example, Wyatt, of doing this. Wyatt, as you did that first video, what does it look like right now as far as how you're using video in your business?
It's kind of a couple different ways. And so I'm fortunate enough, like Noah is in our market, where we have a lot of new construction coming to market. And so the videos that get the most views for me, besides the community announcements, are just the video tours of the model homes when they are released. And it's still to this day just me. I'm filming, I'm editing, putting it up, and it's very bare bones. Like, all I need to rock and roll is I have a DJI Osmo gimbal, which just makes my video a little bit smoother. It's $180. And then I have my little DJI wireless mic, lapel mic, another $150, and it all fits in the glove box of my car, and I just keep them in there in case I pop up on something or I have time to go and film it. And so I'll try and get one of those out either once a month, or like right now, a community just opened, so it'll be one every week. And then I'll do a monthly market update for my specific area. And then one thing I kind of try and differ myself from the other agents that are, there's like, when you go to these model homes now, like I was there yesterday and there's probably 5 other agents filming the exact same stuff. And so I know I'm not going to beat them in terms of video quality. And so I like to nerd out on the numbers, and I'll kind of tell people exactly what I think of the product, where most agents are going to come in and they're going to tell you, look at this $5 million model. This is the best thing since sliced bread. And I'll spend the last 5 or 10 minutes of my longer form content of being like, here's how it breaks down on price. Here's price per square foot. And in my opinion, like, honestly, I think there's some better product out there to buy than this. And that's like what's resonated with a lot of my buyers, of not saying like, you need to get in and buy this right away. It's like, let's take a step back. Like, this is nice, but are you buying maybe a little too high in the market, or are there some risks related to buying this product?
Absolutely. This is such good stuff. Wyatt, thank you. Listen, follow Wyatt. You're going to be able to see the journey of what he's doing. And he skated over that. My man was like, it's $50-60 million play. I mean, like it was nothing. I mean, I was just like, whatever. So anyway, hey, listen, drop a note in the chat thanking these panelists. I mean, look, I don't know about you, but I left here more inspired to take action on doing more video. Also, to get out there and do more, to get inspired to take some action with these things. One thing I will tell you is we're going to have these every single Friday. And I would just encourage you, follow everybody there. Also, next Friday, we're going to have my buddy David Childers on here. We're going to be talking about specifically what to expect and how to form your professional opinion so that you can be seen as the resource in your local market with the best information. So I just want to encourage everybody. We're going to hang around if anybody wants to hang around for some questions, or some of us are at least. But for those of you, thank you for being here. I want to be cognizant of the time, and have a great weekend. We'll see you guys next week. All right. Thanks, everybody. I see everybody coming in there in the comments. And hey, listen, if you got a question for me or any of the panelists that are still here, if you want to drop that in the chat, we'll be glad to see if we can answer some of those for you. Again, Sam, Savage, thank you. If y'all don't mind, jump on here. Let us see y'all and say thank you publicly to the two of you. Just can't thank you enough. Always make all of us look better than we are. And so
fun, especially when you have a rock star panel like you always do. I mean,
man, what a great
gosh. Natalie and Bridget, are you
still recording? Are we? Are we not still recording?
No, recording is paused.
Okay, so let me just do this. Let me just say, they make this thing so great because of their willingness to share their stories. Look, we all have a story, and I just loved the way that each of them shared their story about kind of their journey. So that I hope that everybody that was watching found a place where they could connect and understand, what that should look like for them. But let's see, do they purchase keywords for their videos to get this kind of audience? Christian, I want to ask you, do you do any paid on any of yours?
All organic, no paid.
Yep.
In fact, I probably shouldn't say this, but I was looking closely, and I'm actually not spending money on marketing. I probably should start doing that. But anyway.
Hey, listen, Bridget, are you doing any kind of paid, promoting any of your posts or any of your videos or anything?
No.
Yeah, I can speak. I don't either. And let me tell you partially why on YouTube. Why, if you're going to do paid on YouTube, typically those are pre-roll type of ads, the ones you see. And the reason I don't do that on my channel, because it's been built organically, is that the algorithm watches to see how long the average watch time is. And if you're doing pre-roll ads and they click off 5 seconds because they don't want to see the ad, it will kill your time period on your average watch time, and that actually will negatively impact your channel. I tried it, and back about 3 years ago, and my channel, it took about 4 months to make up for that. So I would just encourage you, if you're going to run some ads, because there is a place to run ads, I mean, they're valuable, set up a separate channel to run those ads to specific videos is what I would suggest. Sam, Savage, I don't know if y'all have got any questions, anything from over.
There was a question regarding A/B testing. I did put a great article from Epidemic Sound on A/B testing in YouTube in there, but I'll toss that to Christian. Some people want to know what you mean by A/B testing.
Yeah, good question. Again, a more advanced concept. Don't let needing to understand what A/B testing prevent you from filming a video and getting it published. But when you publish in YouTube, you're going to have the ability to upload different thumbnails and different titles, up to 3. So it's technically ABC testing. And then YouTube's going to run your video and do different combinations and pick the best one for you. So it's just, for you, it's a simple matter of creating 2 or 3 of each of those and putting them in there.
Hey, we had a question, super, really, really good, helpful there. We had a question for Wyatt about what it is, with his, what he's using tool-wise. I'd love to just get everybody's. Like, Natalie, what are you using as far as, like, are you just shooting on your iPhone, the stuff you're doing? I know you've got somebody hired to do some of your video, but what are you using? And then Bridget, I'll come to you as well.
Just my phone. That's what I'm using, literally. And I do use a lot of ChatGPT sometimes to get some prompts, but I am very, like, if, let's say I'm eating out tonight and I see that the restaurant has a, it's a good restaurant. I just shoot some small videos, and then I put it together, and then I'll do a review about the restaurant, or I'll do a review about the place I am. So as the ideas come, that's what I do. I have a lot of imagination. So if you go and look at my videos on Facebook, you'll see like and I'm like Bridget. I love what she said, and I identify with her a lot because I don't plan too much. Like if I have a new listing, it's coming up with a video. If I'm showing a house, I'll make a little video. If I'm about to meet some clients, like I make a little video. I just feel like there is not a perfect time. And I used to think the algorithm was like the best time to post any videos was 7 p.m. I noticed that doesn't work for me. I can post a video at 9 a.m. and have more views than the one that I posted at 7 p.m. So everything works different for everybody, you know? But
that's really good. Hey, and listen, that's another good point that we didn't really talk about today, but if you're filming local type of content, and then Bridget, I'm gonna come to you. One of the things that can be is utilize the collaborate tab. For those of you that aren't aware, you have the ability to either tag or collaborate. What collaborating does is it gives a one-click capability for whoever that other business is to accept, and it will show up on their grid. So we'll do simple things like we've got a great place called Raw and Juicy down here that basically does these great smoothies. And first off, it's Cambodia hot down here right now. And so literally, like, we will literally take and have that, you'll take that little drink and we'll sit it up there with the branding for Raw and Juicy. And we will literally just do like a quick, slow pan as the water is just kind of dripping off of it. And it will say nothing better on a hot day than a little bit of almond love smoothie from Raw and Juicy. And then we just will tag them, and I will, or we'll collaborate with them. I'll promise you they're going to share that. What that does then is it gives us the ability to expand our audience through a very simple, literally just panned video that's 5 to 6 seconds that we've done. So just be thinking from that standpoint of how can I collaborate with local businesses? It helps the businesses because your audience is exposed to them, but ultimately it's going to help you as well. Bridget, what are you using for tools for shooting?
My tool is my videographer. So his equipment, whatever he uses, he has a VA that does a lot of the editing, and then he has a separate VA that does the thumbnails. He uses his phone though quite a bit when we shoot, just an iPhone and a gimbal, and we'll shoot video vertically and horizontally. I'll do the same script vertically, and then he'll shoot it again horizontally. And he has someone for me that posts to YouTube the longer form or the horizontal form of whatever we shot vertically. And then we use monday.com to communicate back and forth when the project is ready. It has a link to the Google Drive. I put my edits in there, my feedback. They get back to me. They're in the Philippines, so it's overnight. So our schedules are opposite. So I'll wake up to the new edit. And then once I'm satisfied with the final cut, then I'll download it and I'll upload it to Instagram myself. But YouTube is completely automated for me. I don't touch it.
Yeah. Let me mention, somebody asked Bridget how much this videographer costs.
Oh, yeah.
Do you want to blast it out there? I didn't know whether you wanted to. I was going to defer it for you, but if you want to talk, that's fine.
I'll ask for forgiveness.
Okay. Hey, I love that. I was trying to shield you, but go ahead.
Add another zero to the end of it. He'll appreciate that.
I appreciate it. No, I mean, I would want to know too, and I don't want to gatekeep. So depending on how much content we do, if I'm steady on my 15, 16 talking heads and 4 long form YouTubes, it was about $2,200 a month. When I fell off a little bit, my bill would be around $1,200 to $1,700 if I was just doing one-off listing videos, kind of a la carte as needed. And I think the most I've ever spent in a month was probably $3,000.
What do you feel like the return is on that investment? I don't know if you've ever really looked at those numbers, but what do you feel like that is?
I'm working on that, but it's definitely, I've gotten my money back at least fivefold. I mean, it's hard to track. That's something it's difficult for me to track because I'm like Noah, I don't get direct YouTube leads like that where I can say, okay, 17 days to contract. I love that. I want to start, but I think my video is more used to supplement and edify who I actually am already within my network and spread it out from there. So it's hard to really, at this point right now, put a number on that, but I know my business has definitely skyrocketed in the last 2 years.
And I heard somebody say this one time. I'm trying to remember who it was. Um, said that, hey, listen, social media, video, especially on social media, it's like it's very difficult to put a value on it. It'd be like somebody saying, hey, what's the value of your mom? Um,
You just need her there, you know, you just need it to be there.
That's exactly right. You know the value's there, but it's hard to say, oh, it's X, but you know it's there. And so that was what I would encourage you. I mean, like with YouTube, it gets a little easier. I mean, you know,
Yeah.
we're typically, whether it be Noah or some of the other people that I'm working on, we're in excess of 8X on the investment after we get to about 6 to 8 months. Because you have to understand it does take time. You can hit lightning in a bottle. I mean, if you're Wyatt, you know what I mean? But literally, like typical person, it's going to take some time. And you know, it's almost like I've always thought of video almost like we used to when growing up on the docks down here on the beach, you know, and fishing a lot. You used to talk about it that you had to soak the baits in order for the fish to find it. So you have to have consistency in video for that to actually have some effectiveness out in the market. So why they were asking specifically, and then Bridget, go ahead, and then Wyatt, I want to ask you.
There's a question that keeps popping up about the street interviews and if I get people's permission. So I wanted to just address that really quickly.
Please.
And Dina, my videographer does have multiple other agent clients. I don't worry about that. They make their own content. I make my own content. They use my templates. It's okay. It's fine. It's flattery. It's never going to be me, you know, so don't worry about that. But the signed acknowledgement, I don't have a waiver. The street talk videos, I ask them if they are okay being on video. Some of them have asked me where, you know, it's going to be posted, but I just let them know, hey, it's on my Instagram. Here's my Instagram. And that's all. I just get that verbal, you know, my videographer is filming and they're okay with it. If they don't want to be on camera, they say no. So that's what I do.
Good. Really good stuff. Wyatt, if you don't mind, just re-say, you know, what the tools are you're using in your car.
Yeah, so I use a DJI Osmo Mobile 7P, which is like just their most recent mobile gimbal. So it keeps your phone a little bit smoother. It's also really cool. Their new technology on it has a smart camera connected to your phone. And so you can set it up on a tripod or the built-in tripod and tell it to follow you. And you can walk around the house and the camera will pan to keep you centered in screen. And so on some videos where I'm not paying for a videographer, I'll just set it up on the kitchen island or move it from room to room. And if I want to walk around and talk, I have my mic plugged into my phone and it will track me. So you can, like, they sell a bundle on Amazon for the gimbal and the mic for $185. And you got that and you're pretty much ready to rock and roll for at least as bare bones as you want to be.
Yeah, and for those of you that are wondering what a gimbal is, it's basically, if you've ever seen those tools where it's like this handheld and then it comes up and it's like balancing, it actually balances for you and gives it, make sure that it stays smooth there. Super helpful. Wyatt. Christian, what are you using if you're still there as far as tools?
Yeah, still here. So in the beginning, just my phone. Phone was the easiest way to do it. And then you can dive deep in the tech and you can go nuts. Sony makes a great line of cameras. I've had a couple of those. The one I'm using right now is the Sony, what is it? ZV-E10, which allows you to put a different lens on there. And the lens right now is the Sigma 16. And if you start looking this stuff up, you'll see all the nerds out there talking about this stuff.
Yeah.
Then the other important thing is sound. So start out with just a cheap microphone. They have cheap mics that you can get on Amazon that plug into your phone, but sound is very important. And then you can ratchet it up from there. DJI has some good mics. Who else? Other companies are coming out with good mics as well. Insta360 just came out with a cool mic. So that's all the toys. That's the problem. You're going to start playing with the toys and not making videos. So stop playing with the toys.
Yeah.
Maybe you should stick with the phone if you don't want to spend too much money because
exactly.
it gets crazy.
Listen, I would say everybody should start with the phone. You know what I mean? I mean, literally, I mean, you have to understand when I started shooting video 5 years ago, this phone right now on an iPhone is better than any camera we had 5 years ago, 6 years ago.
Yeah.
You know, it's amazing how the technology is and what we have today. I wanted to mention, I saw somebody said, do you post direct to Instagram with your videos or do you use the YouTube link? Let me just say this. post directly on wherever it is. If you post you have to think of it this way. If Instagram is here and you're posting something where you're trying to take people off of Instagram, they're going to kill that. Because they want people staying on Instagram. Same thing with YouTube. If you're posting there, the other thing is if you're posting and you're utilizing Instagram's, for instance, editing app for your video, it will then, if you download that video, or if you do it on TikTok, they're going to put a little watermark there that's going to say it's from Instagram or it's from TikTok. Don't take that video and then post it on TikTok, because TikTok's going to kill anything that's branding its competition, and vice versa, TikTok to Instagram. You want to use those native things. If you're going to do that, utilize CapCut as an editing tool, or utilize whatever it is that is on that native platform from that perspective. So I was trying to get back up here to some of these other questions. Anything jump out, Sam, that has jumped out there as far as questions or anything else? How to find an editor in the Philippines. Listen, if somebody will send me this, I've got one that I utilize as well. And what I did is I found a VA company, which is a great company. And they actually, what they did for me is they're located here, but they actually have hundreds of people in the Philippines and people on the ground there. They're out of Orange County, actually, I believe, and I'm trying to remember the name. If you'll DM me or you'll just send me a message, I'll send you a link or remember who it is. But they did a process where I told them what I wanted with someone stateside. And then what they did is in a couple of days, they sent me 2 or 3 different options with the resume and some examples of work and a video from that person, so that I could see if I would be able to communicate properly with them. And then we did an interview with the people stateside, as well as with the 2 options or 3 options I had. And then I chose one. And there's different options. You can typically buy 10 hours a week, 20 hours, or whatever you're looking for. But if you send me that, I'll let you know who it is I'm using. They've been great for me. I just can't remember off the top of my head. Let's see. Any other questions?
There's been some questions regarding music and royalty-free music. If you're using any of the platforms, like Instagram will have its own available music on there. So that's probably your best bet. If you're going to post to YouTube, you can use resources like Epidemic Sound, which are royalty-free platforms that you can subscribe to. So just do some research and you'll be able to find a ton of resources for that.
Epidemic Sound is what I use on mine, and it takes care of everything for YouTube. Look, and I'd love Bridget to jump in on this. On Instagram, I use a ton when I'm trying to do stuff over there. A lot of times I'll use trending audio as I'm preparing those, because it does help. Even if you want to have that where you just mute it down and you can't even see it, having that as part of that, it creates a little bit more search there. Bridget, how do you think about your audio or the music that you do background on some of your stuff?
Honestly, it just kind of comes to me. I don't have a science on how I choose it. Trending audio, the suggested trending audio always helps if I'm feeling blank in the head, but I feel like I just sort of tap into the vibe that I want and a song sort of pops into my head.
Yeah, I will say, if you don't know where to find the trending audio, just go on Instagram or YouTube and just say, how do I find trending audio on Instagram? And somebody will show you, because it would take us forever. I would need to have it in front of me to show you, but I will give you
search music for the street name. Honestly, like sometimes there's a song out there where the street name has a title to it, and it's kind of a cute little nod to the neighborhood or the area, or the title of, whatever your video is. Like, those are some fun ways to match music to it as well.
And I'll make a joke with it sometimes. I will actually, if it's like a blooper type thing or it's a failure, I will go into audio and I will punch in search fail, and it will come up with, songs that may be funny, or maybe, I try to do that in a way where I just think about it from a standpoint that if somebody's watching it, they're going to be like, that's kind of creative, or that was a little different.
The details.
Yes, it's the detail stuff. And so, and I will tell you, I don't know how much, obviously with Bridget having someone, I'd be interested, Natalie, if you, on your stuff on social, are you prepping ahead of time, or is it kind of as it comes along for you as far as the type of content?
Oh, it really depends. Like if I'm doing a video on a property, then of course I try to prepare myself ahead of time so that I don't give a videographer a hard time trying to remember everything. I wanted to say something, Jimmy, that I think is very important, and I have seen the difference on my videos. At the beginning of my videos, you're gonna see a lot of videos that I record, and I'm just like some other colleagues over here have said, and they're perfectly right. We record videos on our phones just to kind of feel confident and start that video career in real estate. But I read, and I can't remember that article, but I read a little while ago that we are becoming like babies. You know, if you watch a cartoon, there is not a single scene that lasts more than 10 seconds, not even more than 5 seconds. And I was putting that into practice. So every time we record a video, I try for that one scene doesn't last that long so that people don't get bored. Because if you record a video, I'm here at my open house, let me walk you through. Trust me, those are the least videos that I have views on. But when you do so many transitions, I don't know what it is, but people stay and watch. Even if you're not speaking, even if it's just music, like Bridget said. But I just wanted to put it in practice, and I've noticed the difference. Like, there is a huge difference. So I also use CapCut, and I don't know if a lot of people are using that, and I use the paid version. And we use a lot of their transitions, and I noticed the difference. Like, I don't know, we may be becoming like babies. We are trying to be entertained, and most of the entertainment can be on one single video. I hope you understand what I'm trying to say, Jimmy.
Absolutely. No, let me show you an example of this. I'm going to share my screen again real quick, Sam, if that's okay. I want to show you an example of this. I'm going to go over because literally probably one of the people that does this better than anybody I know is my friend Brad. So I'm going to show you something that he did. Let me see if I can find this or just a typical, video that he's done on some of these things. Watch how he cuts in and out.
The real estate market in Canada is crashing. People are losing their life savings. They're losing hundreds of.
Now, what I want you to notice here is he has got a still video, but he's editing in some breaks on this thing, and it's moving in and out. So look, you think of it from a standpoint of angles. You think of it from a standpoint of different types of flow that he's doing. This is one, I loved this. I'll show you this. So it's not just on the cuts, it's on the speed of where you're editing in, where it's moving faster. Then it's change of pace, change of colors. I think this is
all modern homes are cold, soulless, and institutional. Think again.
Now watch, see how he's speeding up, slowing down. He's changing the angle. All of that is just, it is psychologically to keep people engaged in a lot of what is happening here. And so, that's where finding some of these folks that are doing these things. And like with Brad's, what I'll do a lot of times is I'll just scan down to see what is the best performing video he's done in the last month. And then I'll try to model the titling. I'll try to model the flow of that, the speed of it. And he does a great job with the hooks. So a lot of times, I'm going to use this as an example. If you've got a new listing coming, I'm just going to use this. It's almost like a friend of mine is calling it dog whistle marketing. You want a dog whistle where whoever it's for, they hear it, and maybe everybody else just doesn't hear it. And so, for instance, it's like if you had a new listing coming, if you're someone looking to purchase your first home in Tucson, Arizona, don't miss what I'm about to share. Now, guess what? If anybody's out there that is a renter or is thinking about being a first-time home buyer, they're going to absolutely watch that video. Now, there may be other people click off at that point, but you're specifically talking to who that person is that you're looking for. If you're someone that has struggled to get your house sold in this environment, I'm going to share the story on what it took to get the highest price possible in this neighborhood. Man, they're going to listen, you know what I mean? Because they're going to see what that is. So be thinking from the hook standpoint on utilizing that. I hope that helps. Let's do one more question, and then I want to be cognizant of everybody's time. And somebody asked about where can you find the replays. If you go to my YouTube channel and you click the live tabs, all of these are under live because we're also feeding this over to a live stream on YouTube. So the replays are on there as well. Any last question or anything you've seen, Sam, or you want to add that you've seen?
The only other question I think is pending that Savage brought over from the YouTube channel, the live YouTube questions, was on YouTube. What performs better, kind of portrait or vertical? I'm sorry, vertical and portrait or horizontal? So maybe Wyatt or Christian or Bridget.
Bridget, I'd love to hear from you on that as well. And then Christian
horizontal for your channel, vertical for shorts. If you use YouTube Shorts, then you can use that kind of like Instagram Reels. And sometimes I will have them post my Reels to YouTube as shorts to see how they perform. But horizontal, my 2 cents.
Yes.
I always
Chris, you want to add to that?
I'm always horizontal because I'm very focused on YouTube long form. And then there's a cool tool for editing called Descript. And my lovely camera overheated. So the camera I was bragging about in technology overheated. My phone would not.
Got it.
So no, Descript is a great editing tool, and in Descript they've added a functionality where you can use their AI to take a 16:9 video and turn it 9:16 by just giving it a prompt. So look for more. There's going to be more tools like that where you're just going to basically shoot it once and be able to repurpose it. Doesn't always work. Depends on what the content looks like. And then I put my YouTube videos on TikTok at that same horizontal aspect ratio, and some of them have done incredibly well. They actually did better on TikTok first, and then YouTube caught up. And then a quick cross promoting or cross posting a story that I recently had. So I started out a recent video. I said, one of the most popular questions on my YouTube channel is X. And it did okay on YouTube, but I put it on TikTok and it got like 3 or 4 views, which is almost impossible on TikTok to get that low. Like you get 200, they give you 200 just to try it out. So I'm like, oh yeah, dummy, you mentioned YouTube in the video. So I did a cut without me starting with that hook, and lo and behold, it goes to 2,000 plus views. So just be a little aware that TikTok and YouTube are fighting. So
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we out here melting cameras. That's what we doing. So much fire, we melt cameras. Listen, anybody else want to add anything as we close out? And hey, again, this is great. It's one of my favorite hours of the week. We really just get an opportunity to share some ideas. I know. Thank you again to the panelists. I mean, I know you made a difference. I've got notes. Like Christian said, he's got notes. I'm sure everybody that was watching has a ton. So anybody else have anything, Sam, Savage, anything we want to close out with? If not, I'll close this out.
Well, if I could say, Jimmy, if anybody's watching and just like me, I think somebody said it's a rookie. I've been in real estate for almost 4 years, going on my 4th year. To not get discouraged by no likes, no comments, because that happened to me at the beginning. I was like, am I doing it wrong? Or what am I doing? Or should I do it differently? Be yourself. You taught me that. You said, go and do it in your own language, be you, and don't get discouraged. It will come. And up to today, my basket is never empty. And there's people that refer me that have watched my videos, and that's why they refer me to people that have never watched my videos. But they're watching, trust me, they're watching, they're following you, and sooner or later, they'll refer you. But don't get discouraged.
And all that matters is that if there could be 3 or 4 likes, but there could be one person in there that wants to buy a house. So, if you could have 3,000 likes and not a single person that wants to buy a house, they just like what you're saying.
100% I agree with my queen.
Yes. Don't
Jimmy,
chase these metrics that don't matter.
Jimmy, what's one thing that is just absolutely consistent with what you do, with what all of these wonderful people do, and everybody that you have on, and that is consistency. Regardless of the quality, regardless of the content, regardless of how they feel, nervous or empowered, they do it all consistently. And that is really the magic secret sauce in all of this, right? So.
Yeah. Hey, I've always said it this way, Sam. Consistency leads to competence. And so the more you do of something, the better you're going to get. And it also gives you the ability to have a data set where you can see what your audience responds to. Listen, Natalie's audience is going to respond to different things than my audience is. And so by doing you will absolutely figure out what it is that your audience wants. Natalie, you want to add something?
I wanted to say exactly what you've been saying throughout the whole video. You don't have to reinvent. Go to any of these amazing agents. Go to Jimmy, go anybody in BHHS. There's a lot of people that have been doing fantastic, and just do it. Because I copied some of Bridget's videos, and she's in Tucson, and my people are in Louisiana. So there's a lot of us that will be honored for you to come and do what I've been doing. And that's what I've been doing. I've been trying to not to do anything new, just kind of follow these amazing agents and just take it from there.
It's so good. All right. I want to thank everybody for being here. Again, next week, we'll have David Childers on. If you have not been getting these, if you'll email me, I'll make sure you get on the email list as well, and we'll make sure that we get that stuff out to you. But again, thanks, Savage. Thanks, Sam. Thank you, Wyatt, Christian. Thank you, Bridget. And also thank you, Natalie, for being here. This has been a great group, and we will see you guys next week.